So you know the definition of accounts. Okay, accounting is the process of identifying, measuring. What you do first, you need to identify the transaction. You need to measure it in monetary terms, whether it's in monetary terms or non-monetary terms. Then if it is in monetary terms, you need to record those transactions. Okay, what is recording? That means you have to pass the journal entries, right? That is the first step when we start the transaction, right? The second step, what we do, classify them. Classify them means we classify each and every transaction into their respective accounts. How we do it? We do ledger posting, right? The third step, what we need to do, we need to summarize it. Okay, for what we need to summarize? For the preparation and presentation of financial statements. Now what is summarizing? That is what we are going to discuss about today. Okay, hello everyone, welcome to Akira's Academy of Accounting and Finance, and today I am going to discuss you about the 6th chapter of accounts, and that is trial balance. Okay, now trial balance, let me start with an example again. Your teacher prepare your report cards. Okay, after preparation of each and everybody's report card, then only the class performance will be known. Okay, then only she can say to the principal that yes, these students have performed better, these students have not performed better. But if she don't prepare the report card, how she will get to know how everybody has performed, right? You gave the exams, you recorded everything, she classified it like, okay, this subject this much marks student have got, this subject this much mark, this much. Then what she needs to do, she needs to prepare your report card. Okay, she needs to summarize each and every kid's performances in their report card, and that from that report card the whole class performance will get to know. Similarly, the business organization, what is the main purpose of business organization? To know how the organization is running, right? How they get to know? When they prepare the financial statement. What are financial statements? Balance sheet and profit and loss account. From that, the organization will get to know how they are performing, right? Now this is the last step. Okay, before that step, what they need to do, they need to summarize everything. How they will summarize? They need to prepare trial balance. It becomes easy for them to record each and every account into the balance sheet. Okay, now let's say you have prepared ledger. Okay, you have prepared ledger account. You say, why not directly from ledger account we can post it to the balance sheet? But that ledger accounts, you can't, it is not a proper format, it's not properly summarized. You have purchased from somebody, you have debtors, you have creditors, so many debtors, so many creditors, you have returned them. So you need to know the balance of each and everything, right? From that only, summarizing all these things only, you can prepare the balance sheet. Now when we prepare the balance sheet, what is it said? That the debit and the credit, the asset side and the liability side, both will be same. Okay, so what trial balance do? It gives a proper format, it gives a proper structure. Like if the trial balance, we studied in accounts that for every debit there will be an equal credit. We are recording each transaction and we are giving an effect to the debit side as well to the credit side. Okay, let's say we are purchasing goods. I'm purchasing goods on credit, my creditor has increased, similarly my purchases have increased. So the debit side is also the same, the credit side is also there. So we know that every debit must be having an equal credit, so all the debits must be tally with all the credit side. Okay, now how we will get to know that they have tallied? Okay, when we prepare the trial balance. Okay, now while preparing trial balance, before we start how to prepare trial balance, let me clarify what is debit side and what is credit side, along with what do you mean by debit balance and what do you mean by credit balance. Okay, now these are not same. Debit side, credit side, or debit balance, credit balance are not same. These you need to understand, right? Now let's say we are recording a transaction. I purchased goods from somebody, so purchase account debit to Mr. Dheeraj account. Okay, let's say I purchase goods worth rupees 80,000 from him. Okay, now 80,000 will come on the purchase side, debit side of purchase account, I'll prepare purchase account. Okay, purchase account, it will come on the debit side of 80,000. Okay, goods come into the business, and Mr. Dheeraj, who he is my creditor because I purchased goods from him on credit. Okay, so I'll prepare Mr. Dheeraj account, and on the credit side, okay, this will come on the credit side and this will come on the debit side. Okay, purchases will come on the debit side. Mr. Dheeraj account, I'm liable to pay to him, the amount will come on the credit side. Now when I am purchasing from other peoples and everything, whatever purchases will come on the debit side, right? Let's say I purchased 30,000 worth of goods from somebody on cash, 20,000 on credit, so all these things will come on the debit side, nothing will come on the credit side. So my debit side will be more 1,30,000 and 1,30,000. What here I will do? By balance carried down 1,30,000. So I carried down this balance. This balance, what I have written? I have written it on the credit side. Okay, this balance will come on the debit side in the next month by to balance brought down. So my debit, I am having a debit balance of purchases. Okay, I'm having a debit balance. My debit side is more as compared to credit side. When I make a accounts, I got to know that my debit side is more. This amount will come on the debit side. The balance I will carry down to the debit side in the next month. Okay, so this 1,30,000 will be called, it will be called a debit balance. Likewise, when we say, okay, let's say take an example of cash. Okay, now cash, I am having certain cash. Okay, I got certain cash into the business, and at the similar time I am giving somebody cash, I am purchasing goods on cash, I am paying my expenses on cash. So I will have what balance I will have. Let's say I got a cash of 50,000 and I give 30,000 to somebody on purchases, 8,000 for rent, 2,000 as a wages. So what will be remaining? This is on the debit side. This cash comes on the debit side. Debit, we record all the assets on the debit side, right? So now how much balance is left? My debit balance is more as compared to the credit balance. Okay, now this debit balance is more as compared to sorry, it's 2,000, right? So here 10,000 will come. This is the balance which I will carry down. This 10,000 is the debit balance I am having related to cash. But if you talk about bank, it can have a credit balance because we can use the overdraft facility being provided by the bank. Okay, so what you will be given? You will be given the accounts, like how much balances are there in each and every account, and you need to identify that these things will come on the debit balance, or these things have debit balances, or these things have credit balances. So we all know that each and every transaction which are happening in the business, they are being categorized into 5 groups. Okay, they could be either assets, they could either be liabilities, capital, expenses, or else income. Whatever transaction the business is having, those transaction could only relate to these 5 categories only. Okay, now you need to understand this assets and expenses will always have a debit balance. Okay, whereas liabilities, capital, and income will always have a credit balance. Okay, likewise, I said Mr. Dheeraj, he is my liability, he is my creditor. Okay, liability is having a debit balance. Okay, I am liable to pay to Mr. Dheeraj, his credit balance is more. Okay, fine, if I pay him partially, let's say 50,000, still I am having a credit balance. My credit side is more as compared to the debit side. This 30,000 I will carry forward to the next month. So this is 30,000 credit balance, right? Similarly, when I say purchases, my purchases will always have a debit balance. Debit side will be more as compared to the credit side. Likewise, when I say cash, I can't give anybody more than the cash that is available with me. If I am having 1 lakh, I can't give 1,10,000 to anyone, right? I can give only 1 lakh. So it can have a zero balance, but the cash will always have a debit balance. Debit balance or zero balance, not credit balance. Bank, as I said earlier, bank can have a credit balance because bank provide an overdraft facilities. So then if the bank is providing an overdraft facility, that is a liability, right? So the liability will have a credit balance. So all the assets, all the expenses, wages, stationery, printing, cartage, postage, telegram, rent, electricity bill, they are all expenses. All the expenses are recorded on the debit side of their accounts. Okay, so they will always have a debit balance. So all the assets and expenses will have a debit balance. All the liabilities, capital as well as income will have a credit balance. Now if you want to just understand these things properly, try to record journal entries. Okay, record the journal entries, prepare the ledger accounts, and you will get the balances, and then try to make a trial balance. Okay, that will clear your concept smoothly. Right now we will start with one example. Okay, so this is how the trial balance will look like. This is a pro forma of trial balance. Okay, so what we need to mention: trial balance of Mr. XYZ. It could be any sole proprietor, it could be any company, whosoever organization it is, we need to mention it. Okay, as on March 31st, 2024. Okay, now you all know that the financial year starts from 1st April and ends on 31st of March, right? So the trial balance is usually prepared at the end of the financial year, but some companies do prepare it monthly, some prepare it quarterly, some prepare it half yearly and annually. Okay, so here we are preparing the trial balance of Mr. XYZ as on 31st month, that is end of the year. Okay, here you need to mention particulars, whatever accounts are there, that you need to mention ledger folio, from which ledger account you have recording these, so that it become easy for them to cross verify the debit balance and the credit balance. Whichever account, assets and expenses will be recorded on the debit side or on the debit balance, and liabilities, capital as well as income will always have a credit balance. Right now let's start with this example. What is written? It's capital worth rupees 80,000. Okay, what is capital? Where capital will come? It will always have a credit balance. Okay, so we will record it over here. Capital will always have a credit balance, so here it will be recorded. Right, the second is drawings. Okay, now the Mr. XYZ withdrawn certain amount from the business, his capital reduces. Okay, drawings are recorded on which side? Debit side. Okay, so drawings will have what balance? It will have a debit balance. Okay, so drawings 10,000. Right, the next is plant and machinery. What are plant and machinery? They are assets. Assets have what? They have debit balance. So plant and machinery have debit balance. It will be recorded here, 50,000. Right, the next is furniture, 30,000. What is furniture? Furniture is also an asset, so furniture will also have a debit balance. So furniture 30,000 will be recorded here. Next is sales, 1,60,000. We sold the goods, we made an income out of it. It's an income for the business, where the incomes will be recorded. What income will have? A credit balance. It's recorded on the credit side, it has a credit balance. So sales 1 lakh, 60,000. Okay, the next is purchases. Purchases, we purchase the goods. It's an expense for the organization. Purchases comes on which side? Debit side. So it will always have a debit balance. Okay, so purchases, debit balance 1,20,000. Is sales return. Okay, we sold the goods. Okay, we sold the goods and now those goods have our debtors have returned those goods. Okay, so what happened? The goods come into the business. It is recorded on which side? On the debit side. So sales return will have which balance? It will have a debit balance 30,000, right? The next is purchase return. We purchased the goods and we return those goods to our creditors. Okay, purchase return, goods goes out from the business. It is recorded on the credit side. It will have a credit balance which is 50,000. Okay, the next is bank overdraft. What is bank overdraft? It is a liability for the organization to pay the money to the bank. Okay, so bank overdraft is a liability. Liability have which balance? They have credit balance. It will be recorded on the credit side, right? The next is cash. Cash is what? Cash is an asset. Okay, as cash always have a debit balance where it will be recorded here 25,000. The next is sundry debtors. Now what do we mean by sundry? Sundry means like collective debtors, all the debtors. Okay, Mr. Ram, Mr. Aman, Mr. Dheeraj, Mr. Rahim, all these things are, when we accumulate all their accounts, we get a collective amount and it is known as sundry debtors. So debtors have which balance? They are what for the company? They are an asset for the organization. So sundry debtors, they are asset. They will always have a debit balance which is in this case 70,000, right? The next is sundry creditors. They are the liability for the organization. We have to pay money to them. Sundry creditors, they will always have a credit balance. Here it is 32,000. Okay, the next is bills receivable. Bills receivable and bills payable. What is bills receivable? What is bills payable? The bills of exchange I have already explained in my previous video. If you want to know in detail, do go to my previous video. Okay, so bills receivable 20,000. Bills receivable, they are also an asset for the organization. It will be recorded here. It has a debit balance. Whereas bills payable, we have to pay money at a maturity date, fixed amount of money at a maturity date. We are liable to pay to the bills. How much amount is this? 33,000. This 33,000 will always have a credit balance. Bills payable have a credit balance, right? Next is rent. Rent is an expense for the organization. Here it is 15,000. This 15,000 will have a debit balance. Okay, the next is commission received. Commission is received. Okay, commission received, income for the organization. This income will have a credit balance which is 25,000. Next is electricity bill. Electricity bill, an expense for the organization. It have a debit balance. Expenses have a debit balance. Next is wages. Wages also an expense for the business. It will also have a debit balance, right? Bank loan. Bank loan is the liability for the organization to pay the money. We took a loan from the bank. It becomes a liability for the organization to pay the money to the bank. Liabilities have what balance? It has credit balance. Okay, and the last is closing stock. The stock which remains with the organization that stock is an asset for the organization. We purchased certain goods, we sold out certain out of them. The whatever remain is the stock with us that have a debit balance, okay, which is 20,000. So now when we add all these things, what amount it will come? I have already done this example, okay, so I know the amount. It's 4,20,000. We will make dual line, it's an equal sign that these balances have tallied, okay. Every debit has an equal credit. Now what like this trial balance do? It helps the organization. We get to know the arithmetical accuracy of the organization, that yes, if they are tallied, that doesn't mean that it is 100% arithmetically accurate, but it gives a sign of a relief. Oh wow, our trial balance have tallied. That means when we will prepare the financial statement, our balance sheet will also get tallied. But there are certain chances of errors which we are going to discuss later, but this gives a sense of a security that yes, our trial balance has tallied, okay. So this is how this trial balance, if this is not tallied, like this get tallied, we are like fine, right? But if this doesn't get tallied, that means there is some error we have committed. So when we prepare this, we were able to locate those errors, okay. At times it may happen that by mistake I recorded 1,26,000. There could be chances while recording by mistake, instead of 120 I recorded 126. So here my purchases will increase by 6,000. Here it will be 426, here it will be 420. So then the trial balance is not getting tallied. It become easy for me. I will go to the ledger folio, I have mentioned the page number, I will go to that particular account, I will try to locate that errors. So if this is getting tallied, it's easy for us to prepare and present our balance sheet, okay. Now the next topic that we are going to discuss about is errors, okay, and how to rectify the errors, right? It may so happen that when you are you have given your exams, you have done everything correct, but certain times ma'am forgot to check certain portion, okay. So you will think, okay, this is an error, I was supposed to get 80 out of 100 in my accounts exam, but I have got 60. It's not possible, right? So you will try to locate the error, where is the error, and you will go to your ma'am. And at times it may so happen there are certain studious students who will do the options answers also, okay. So dual times the marks is being recorded. Similarly in organizations, it may also happen that the organization may skip certain part, or else dual times they may record certain entries. How those errors are occurred, how to rectify the same, we are going to discuss it about in our next video. Thank you very much.